I don't suppose at this time you've been to many, if any, parties, but I think a lot of people are having their own parties, what I sometimes call a pity party, because sometimes loneliness can sort of create in us that poor me syndrome. And I just want us to think about some of those outcomes today, if that's the sort of life that we've found ourselves drawn into. It says in this book here that one of the greatest dangers that can befall us when we find ourselves overtaken by sorrow or loneliness is to lapse into self-pity. Yet it's so easy to do this. Self-pity is the poor me syndrome, and it's pouring pity on ourselves in the hope that the pain that we are experiencing may in some way be assuaged or relieved. Um, I think that pitying reveals that we're still centered around ourselves. And I think if we begin to center around God Himself and beyond ourselves, we will find that we'll never fall into that sort of pity party type of mentality. In Isaiah 31 it says, "Woe to those who go down to Egypt for help and who depend on horses. They trust in the number of chariots, in the great strength of charioteers. They do not look to the Holy One of Israel, and they do not seek the Lord." Now I know obviously the reference to horses and chariots seems to have nothing to do with us today, but the sort of character of that does, that very often today we try and comfort ourselves with other things, the things that the world has got to offer, and a lot of people sort of turn to other relationships with other people, or to the TV, or to comforts or lifestyle, or any number of things that the sort of world, if you like, has got to offer, rather than turning to God. We're trusting in those sort of horses and chariots that the Old Testament writers were being challenged about, and they're not looking to the Holy One. They don't seek the Lord's help. And I think that sometimes that is what happens in these sort of pity party moments, that what we're doing is refusing the help that is available to us, and that help of course comes from Jesus Christ Himself. We're told in the Psalms, aren't we, that we don't look to the hills, as it were, to the things that we can see for our help, but our help comes from the Maker of heaven and earth Himself, and our encouragement, as it were, comes from God. So today, in whatever circumstance you should find yourself, I want you to be encouraged to move away from the sort of potential of holding a self-pity party, and moving into the celebration of who God is. Trust in Him and enjoy Him today.